shit going on. So much shit going on. What's happening? This big cat. Hey, we back in this thing. K too good. He sleep with a cut up patron one at a time. Now, I'm not gonna do this the best. I'm trying not to do this a disservice here, but I don't got all the tea leaves. I ain't got all the information. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about this little Julian situation that's going on with the new Rory and Mal podcast. If you have been living under a rock and you haven't been paying attention, Julian has been fired or let go from the Rory and Mal podcast. He's not a personality, and I did enjoy him on the show. Before I really get into the information, I did really enjoy him on the show. I thought it was good. He was funny. Good dynamic between him and Daenerys, Baby D, if you will. And yeah, I just liked all four of them together. I thought it was very good for the show and they were doing their thing. I liked them as a group. But apparently, as the new year came in, I thought it was like some budget cut type of thing. And Julian was like, oh, I was sad. I was like, what's Julian going to do? Because I enjoyed him on the podcast. I really liked all four of them together. And I was like, oh man, Julian's gone. That's crazy. It is what it is. So basically, we were speculating. People were asking what's going on with him. We have Danny from The Stop doing his videos on him. Shout out Danny, doing his thing. And just informing us what was going on. Fucking Imani was throwing shots at him for whatever fucking reason. And all this other stuff. Joe kind of subliminally mentioned it. And yeah, whatever. All that stuff was happening. It was whatever. So we got to the point now. Julian got his thing, something with the podcast, whatever his podcast called, I forgot. And he's basically kind of has some shots, says some things about certain things, about what has happened with that thing, with his time on New Rory and Mal, or the Rory and Mal podcast. You know what I'm saying? Now, it is what it is. I just don't want this to be another beef, because this will just be Rory and Mal all over again. Like, it'll just be an inverse of the whole Joe Button situation when Rory and Mal got fired, or they left fucking the Joe Budden podcast, or their own shit, have their grievances, and so what they said. I don't want that to be all of Julian's podcast. It is what it is. He is trying to keep his head on a high note a little bit, and he's trying to do his thing, which I do appreciate, and give his views. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Again, I like all four of them together, but if Julian's gonna do this shit, so we'll see. I'm gonna see what he's gonna do. I appreciate him, and we'll see what the fuck happens with it. But basically, he has some shit to say at this point, you know what I'm saying? So, ex-Rory and Mal producer passionately speaks out after being fired. So, Julian Delgado addresses his departure from the show in the first episode of his own podcast. So, ex-producer of New Rory and Mal, Julian Delgado, there's been a lot of changes at the studio that includes a lot of employees being let go, including him. Despite it being a pretty major platform in the hip-hop media space, it seems Rory and Mal are going through a bit of internal turmoil. Well, I think like their first deal, to be fair, like I don't know what deals they probably have. Maybe the deals and whatever ad reads they do ain't doing as much, and they had to let some niggas go, and Julian was one of them niggas. To be fair, it would again, because I think they had a serious deal, and after that, I don't know what they were doing. So I guess, yeah, they couldn't keep the amount of people there. But anyways, the details on this are pretty much non-existent. However, Julian's message may give listeners some slight context as to what is going on. From piecing things together, it looks like he was fired at least a couple of weeks ago. That speculation comes from... Also, yeah, the way they handled it, too, as well. Like, sorry. It's like, yeah, we just want to mention Julian's no longer with us. Salute, this and that. Like, it was a little dry. I was just trying to make it, like, an afterthought. Like, no, he was, like, a physical presence on the podcast. It's not like a nigga from behind the scenes. We only, like, maybe heard their voice here and there. Or you spoke to them off screen here and there. No. This nigga was there. He was adding his, like, views in. This nigga was funny. Literally, a nigga punched him in the face. Like, you really thought y'all was just gonna be like, yeah, the podcast done, just so you know, like, oh, bro gone, yeah, but, like, we wishing the best or whatever. Like, nah, you can't send a nigga off like that. But anyways, what was I saying? Speculation about his departure from the podcast. This isn't some tweet or Instagram caption, though. The writer and producer decided to address the elephant in the room on this podcast. It's called Something Wrong with the Podcast, and it looks to be a solo endeavor. Even more bold, he decided to speak on it during his first episode. Julian starts off by saying how he was going through all 7 stages of grief. Additionally, he adds that he feels he owes it to himself and the public to at least give some sort of perspective on the situation. How he went by this is by writing a poem of sorts of how he started to realize that his time working at Rory and Mal was coming to a close. Julian discloses that he wrote at least 20 drafts of this letter, and here are some quotes that may be keys to why he's on his own. Also, I feel like Julian wanted to do specific things maybe Rory or Mal weren't really interested in, and that's where some of the departure or differences came from. This is a letter to anyone out there doing their best to communicate, but your message falls on deaf ears. This is a letter to anyone being seen. He later adds, you've done things that have put money into pockets for others, hoping that one day that beautiful karma would find its way back to your very own. That is crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if Julian was helping get ads or doing some other things to try to help them profit or whatever, and that's what he's talking about. Like, I was helping y'all niggas out, I was showing y'all niggas love, but hey, it is what it is. Y'all niggas didn't show me the love back, and it wasn't reciprocated. You work twice as hard to make up for others' lack of work ethic. Hey, we could attribute that to Mal. We all know Mal is, hey, Joe Budden has commented on that. Mal, like, not to say, Mal, you could say he's lazy. Maybe he's procrastinator or whatever have you. Another series of telling quotes includes, but you must be a team player, but a team implies no other individual is greater than the whole. He doesn't get too explicit with it, but it's clear that Julian feels slightly wronged and misled. Yeah, that part I think it's a Mal bar. Keep it a buck. I think it is a Mal bar, but yeah. It is what it is. It sucks that he's gone. There's more other stuff. Apparently there's some responses back and forth. There's some shit going on. Like, it's just very perplexing at this point. Again, it's hard to do business with friends. I don't know if they were friends before the podcast. But like, yeah, it's just one of them situations. It's just kind of crazy at this point, and it is what it is at the end of the day. It does suck. I do like Julian with them. I feel like there's some shit that happened behind the scenes. Maybe he's saying like certain shit happened that was unfair. Certain people aren't getting like breaks even though they don't work as hard as me. They weren't doing as much as me. Hey, listen, I say it all the time and people don't understand. Sometimes it's better to be liked than be right. And maybe other people that kept their job was more liked than you. Sadly to say. It is, or there was more history there with them and maybe Rory and Mal at this point. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens with this. I think there's more information as well. You could go check out Danny from the stop if you want like play-by-play. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Besides that, your friendly neighborhood K.A. signing off for today. The Black TJ there while doing this thing. Name ring bells like Quasimodo. Hit like, subscribe, try a little bit more to hear me. And I'm gone. Shalom, Zoom, peace, y'all else gang. Aye.